Is it time for the Detroit Lions to say forget them picks as we are sitting in the devastation 96 hours removed from the loss to the Washington Commanders in a game that I was confident that we were going to win because our offense was the way that it was. Now, the offense did falter, and we've talked about that at length. But you know what? I believe that everything happens the way it's supposed to. You might look at it as everything happens for a reason. And I think that the Detroit Lions, this loss might just be exactly the kick in the behind that the team needed as a whole. Let me tell you what I mean. And maybe the fan base as well. For years, we have had such faith in Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, and that faith is still there. But we went into this season thinking that we were going to win it all. And we were right to think that based on the offense. But Brad Holmes has been ultra conservative. And this is kind of a topic about Brad Holmes. And I want to ask you, the fan. So put in the comment section. I may not be able to respond, but I will read most of them, as many as I can. But this is more about you and what you want your general manager to do. And how do you feel now that we lost the way that we did? Here's what I mean. I hear during the year, when I blow up at a draft pick, when I blow up because we signed Marcus Davenport in free agency, and when I blow up that we are too conservative to make a move, a championship caliber move, I hear, let Brad cook, trust the process, those things. And I hear my two favorite things is I don't want Brad to mortgage the future. And cap space. Those two things. I've asked you guys, do you think that it's time for the Detroit Lions? Do you think going into this season, did you think it was time? Do you think the Detroit Lions are in a place where they could depart with a first round pick in order to get a championship caliber player? Most of the responses, yes, no. Most of it is no. But I think this year you might have a change. You might have a change in your tune. Because let me tell you something. The team that said, forget them picks, I'm paraphrasing here, forget them picks, the 2021 Los Angeles Rams, how they doing? How are the Rams doing? Let's just look at this in perspective. The Detroit Lions are one of 4 teams to never appear in the Super Bowl. Everybody knows it by heart. Who's the other 3? Houston Texans, Jacksonville Jaguars, Cleveland Browns. The Detroit Lions are the only original OG team to never appear in the Super Bowl. Well, Derek, what about the Cleveland Browns? When they broke in 1996, they officially ceased being the Browns, became the Baltimore Ravens. They became the Cleveland Browns a couple years later, 1999, I believe, and hence they started over. All right? You know this. There are 13 teams that's never won the Super Bowl. Thankfully, the Minnesota Vikings are in that category. All stuff that we know. The 2021 Rams, with the general manager that said, forget them picks. Let's look and see, and let's compare what they've done to what we've done. Why did I bring up the Lions never being to a Super Bowl, never being in a Super Bowl, let alone winning one? Why did I bring it up? Because when you talk about mortgaging the future, and you look at the forget them picks, let's compare. Was it really that bad? As a Lions fan, see, I think we got a little arrogant. Y'all was talking about dynasty before we even won. And I said, hold on now. Hold on there, little lady. Pump the brakes on the dynasty. Now, yes, I was talking about Super Bowl, but pump the brakes on the dynasty. See, I hear that we're building for long-term success. Let me ask you something. What are you trying to do here? You want to win a Super Bowl or you want long-term success? Because since the Rams said, forget them picks, let's see what they've done. Won a Super Bowl, had a down season, made the playoffs twice in a row. Now, granted, they got bounced out they got bounced out by us the first round. They made it to the divisional round of the second. So in 4 years, they've, follow me now, won a Super Bowl, had a down year, made it to the playoffs, both times going 10-7. And one of those 2 times went to the divisional round. The Detroit Lions, they go 3-13-1. They go 9-8, missing the playoffs. They go 12-5, NFC Championship game. They go 15-2 and get bounced out in the divisional round. Which one you taking? You taking Super Bowl, playoff miss, playoff make, wild card exit, playoff make, divisional exit, 10-7 both years, or are you taking 3-13-1, 9-8 missing the playoffs, 12-5 NFC Championship game, 15-2 no playoff wins? I know which one I'm taking. See, we talk about the future like we've been there before, and we ain't. We talk about long-term success. What you trying to do, long-term success? See, this is a perfect example, and maybe I'm in there too, of us putting the carriage before the horse. What we talking about dynasty for? We got to make it to a Super Bowl first. So for a team that literally said, forget them picks, and the following year they're hoisting the Lombardi trophy, we got a lot of nerve for a team that ain't even made a Super Bowl. So what is the point of this video? Do you think the Rams mortgaged their future? And if your answer is yes, cool. But guess what? I take that future. As a Detroit Lions fan, obviously, that's a future I trade in a heartbeat. You mean to tell me a Lombardi trophy, we miss the playoffs, and we make the playoffs 2 years in a row, but we don't win it all? In exchange for a Super Bowl win? I take that all day long. There's not a choice to be made. I don't understand why we are like we are. Now, let's go to Brad Holmes. Bro, you picking 28, 29, wherever we picking at. 28, I believe it is. 28. Last year, you traded up for Terrion Arnold. Not a lot of impact made in the 2024 NFL draft. Not a ton. It's not that we can't really say Terrion Arnold was not really impactful. So maybe this whole thing is starting to kind of equal out a little bit. You crushed it in year 1. You crushed it in year 2. You did all right in year 3. Year 3 was Brian Branch. So you did great. It's a lot of year 3. Year 4, year 4 is meh, right? Is mortgaging the future, if your future looks like the LA Rams currently, is that so bad? That's a question you decide. I know my answer. My answer is to the yeah. Because we talk about this mortgaging the future like we're just going to suck for 10 years. The Lions have been sucking our whole life. We're just now getting a taste of winning, and now we're going to dominate. So let's bring it back to Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes, where are you at? See, I already know what everybody's going to think. The Lions have gotten increasingly better year after year after year, literally since they've been there. 3-13-1, 9-8, 12-5. Record-wise, we've gotten better. This year, we regress, but Derek, it's on the injuries. Okay, whatever helps you cope. We were not talking about that when we were winning games. But the moment we lose, now it's all that matters. And I think that is us coping with the fact that we fell short in a year we all expected to win it all. They didn't matter. Those injuries didn't matter when we were winning games. Just like you putting the loss on Jared Goff, solely on Jared Goff. Is it partially on him? Absolutely. Is it solely on him? It is not. Brad Holmes, it is time to get championship players on this team. And including the Rams, let's go back to the Rams. The year they won the Super Bowl, they traded for Matthew Stafford. They traded for Von Miller, I believe, or he could have been signed in free agency. You signed Odell Beckham Jr. You had Aaron Donald. You had Jalen Ramsey. You had just enough. And you barely did it, but you did it. You're in the history books as the 2021 NFL World Champions. History is made. And they still managed to get Kobe Turner and Jared Verse in back-to-back drafts. Right? Why can't we do something like that? And would you accept that? See, for me, success is not defined by the number of wins we have. Because I don't care if we're 8-8-1. If we're 8-8-1 and we win it, we make the playoffs and we run the table, we win every road game to get to the Super Bowl and win that mug too, that is a win to me. I don't care nothing about how good we are during the season. Because guess what? 9-8, we was on one. We was on one. the team was on one. 12-5, we was on one that year too. This year was phenomenal. I mean, the Lions still haven't lost 2 games in a row in 2 full seasons. We have not lost 2 games in a row. And all that stuff is great, but eventually that's going to wear thin. See, I'm going to tell y'all something you don't want to hear, and that's why you love me. I mean, you know, I'm going to keep it a buck. That's why you love me. I'm going to tell you something you don't want to hear. There will come a time, and I'm not saying that that time is now, but there will come a time if in 2 years the Lions have not been to a Super Bowl, you're going to start to get some looks at Dan Campbell, and you're going to start to get some looks at Brad Holmes. See, because the success is ultimately defined by a Super Bowl win. That's it. I think if the Lions hadn't, if they're, what you guys are looking at is the record. We went further last year than we didn't even win a playoff game this year. I'm not saying that that's now. I'm saying that it will be. I'm not saying you should fire these individuals. I'm not saying it's going to be like that. But every single fan that's watching this video will have to, it would be lying to themselves if let's give a hypothetical here. The Detroit Lions make it to the NFC Championship game in 2025, meaning this time next year, but they lose. The year after that, we don't even make the playoffs. Or as a matter of fact, let's switch it up. This year, we don't make the playoffs because we got a whole bunch of turnovers. And no, I'm not jinxing the team. Next year, we make it to the NFC Championship game, but we lose again. Y'all going to start wondering if we got the right guys in place. It's just how the game go. So is it time for Brad Holmes to say, forget them picks and go get somebody that is Super Bowl caliber? Championship teams make championship moves. It happens. This channel is made possible by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. It's because you support this channel, I get to do what I do. You could be anywhere else on YouTube, but you choose to rock with me. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions. I want you to pay attention to something. My numbers have gone up since we lost. During the season, they weren't this good. They're going up because I think people are coming off of the veil has been lifted up on this team. That winning covers things. It does not cure them. So I've been talking about this all year, but I think you guys can respect that. And I think that's why you're here. At least I hope so. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next video.